There are days when we pass by hundreds of people without remembering a single face. And yet there are moments when just a brief glance is enough for us to define an entire person. We call it intuition. But sometimes it's just a rushed judgment. That morning began like any other. The small cafe on the corner was still full of customers. The clinking of spoons against cups, the tapping of keyboards, and the low murmur of conversations blended into a familiar sound, the sound of life moving forward. Sunlight streamed through the large glass window, gently falling across each wooden table. Everything felt peaceful until he walked in. He looked to be in his 60s. His shirt was worn at the cuffs, his shoes faded, and his hair slightly messy, as if he had gone through a long, sleepless night. He didn't look like the other customers, those neatly dressed people, rushing between work and appointments. He walked slowly, very slowly, as if every step carried an invisible weight. He approached the counter. "I'd like the smallest black coffee," he said. His voice was slightly hoarse, but polite. The barista nodded, though she couldn't hide her curious glance. When he handed over the money, she noticed the bills were old, carefully arranged, as if that was everything he had. He chose a seat in the corner of the cafe, the place where the fewest people would notice him. He placed the coffee on the table, but didn't drink it right away. He just sat there, looking out the window, his eyes distant. Only a few minutes later, whispers began to appear. "He looks homeless. He'll probably sit there all day with just that cheap coffee." People like that ruin the atmosphere of the place. No one spoke loudly, but it was enough for others to hear, and enough for judgment to spread. A young woman glanced at him and shook her head. A middle-aged man frowned as he walked past. Even a couple moved to another table to stay away from him, but he didn't seem to notice. Or perhaps he was used to it. Time passed. The coffee in front of him remained almost untouched. From time to time, he took a small photo out of his pocket. He looked at it for a long time, then carefully put it away again. No one knew what was in that photo. And no one truly cared. Until his phone rang. The sound broke the quiet space. A few people turned around, annoyed. He quickly answered. "Yes, I'm here." His voice was soft, but clear. Everything around seemed to slow down. "Yes, doctor." A pause. "I see." He nodded, even though the person on the other end couldn't see him. "It's okay. I've already prepared myself." His voice was strangely calm. He listened for a few more seconds, then gently said, "Thank you, truly, thank you." The call ended. He placed the phone down, his hands folded together. For a few seconds, he didn't move. No one knew what he was thinking. Then he smiled, a very faint smile. Not happiness. Not quite sadness either. It was the smile of someone who had accepted. He stood up, slowly. He picked up his coffee and took a small sip, perhaps the first one. Then he walked to the counter. "I'd like to pay a little extra," he said. The barista looked surprised. "Sir?" He pointed to the small donation box next to the register, "For those who need it more than I do." The girl hesitated. "But you don't have to." He smiled, gently interrupting. "Everyone will need it at some point." He placed a few bills into the box, the last bills in his wallet. He knew it, but he still did it. Before leaving, he turned around and looked at the cafe, not to find someone, but as if to remember this place one last time. The door opened, sunlight poured in, and then he walked out. Not long after, another employee stepped closer to the counter. She looked toward the direction he had gone, then softly said, "Do you know who he is?" No one answered. "He used to be a regular here," she continued. "He came every day, sat at that exact spot." She pointed to the corner table. "Before, he always came with his wife." She loved this place. The room grew quiet, but she passed away 2 years ago. A serious illness. She paused, her eyes softened. And he just received his results, terminal cancer. No one spoke, not a single sound. The doctor said, he only has a few months left. Someone in the cafe quietly let go of their cup. The soft clink echoed loudly. He comes here every day because it's the only place where he feels like his wife is still somewhere around. And the money he just left, she took a deep breath. It's from his last savings. He said he wants to help people who are still fighting, just like his wife, and now himself. Silence filled the room. No more judgmental eyes, no more whispers, only shame. The middle-aged man lowered his head. The young woman turned away, her eyes red. The couple silently stared at their table. What had they seen before? A strange man? Someone who didn't belong? No, they had seen a man carrying a pain beyond words, a husband who never stopped loving, a heart that still chose to give even when nothing was left. Outside, he was already gone, blending into the busy crowd. No one could see him anymore. But his story remained, in the minds of everyone who had judged him. Maybe you are like them. Maybe I am too. We look at others and think we understand them from a single glance, a single action, a single moment. But the truth is, every person you meet is carrying a story you cannot see, a pain hidden behind a smile, a battle quietly endured. And sometimes what they need most is not judgment, but kindness. So, the next time you feel like judging someone, pause, just for a second, and ask yourself, if I knew their whole story, would I still think the same? Maybe. The answer will change everything.